We got a report.
We got a report.
Which is better than what we had before.
Exactly. And we also did get copies of the last, basically
We got some board minutes.
About
Yes.
a year or so worth of board minutes.
And we also told them that we'd like those board meetings to be open to the public,
right,
per Florida statute in the future.
One of the things, and you know, I'll just go ahead and say it, Deborah. I've had enough. I've been yelled at. I've been backstabbed. I've been called names, although I enjoy the horsefly name, but I've been called names. I've been called names far worse than that. I've had personal attacks made towards myself and my family that I certainly haven't appreciated, all over me simply asking this organization to follow the law. Now, I'm not going to make any bones about it. I asked their representative this morning that if they were looking for me to draw a line in the sand, then the line in the sand is drawn. And I expect that their meetings be advertised and open to the public. And I also expect that when a citizen, me or anybody else, wants to see a document, that if they make that request, that it be put there. And you know,
and let's reiterate things that have happened in the past, that meetings were not open for us to know how the process was undergone. We know that there was a Defense Department grant for $170,000.
right.
Okay, and nobody was around to see how that went down. We know that a board member was involved in recruiting for a $70,000 a year job. That
Military affairs position.
The same board member, ex-board member now, ended up getting. We know that happened, and we also know that there was a purchase of
70 acres, $170,000.
$1.7 million.
$1.7 million and $170,000 commission to a real estate agent.
Right. That got us some land for the industrial park that is still going unused, and that we bought this land. That we the people bought this land while other industrial park land was sitting there empty.
Right. And you know, and
that's just a few examples.
That's and there's one other interesting point, and any of you that know me, one of the things you'll hear me say a lot is I believe that the ethics line is completely blurred anymore as to what is right and wrong. Let me tell you what the law says about boards. The law says that if a board member, and it doesn't matter what kind of board it is, an elected board, a appointed board, the flower garden board, or whatever board, it says if they're in a position to make decisions for government, it says that if those board members, if they have intimate knowledge that the citizen does not have access to, then it is a violation for them to use that knowledge to benefit themselves or those around them.
Right.
The law is very clear on that.
And what's happened when we've investigated is we've been told, well, the person stepped down from the board. Since we were not available, we didn't have access to those board meetings, we had no way of knowing what happened.
Right.
And nobody else was there, so nobody else knows that. So we have to, we have to take them at their word. And when it comes to millions and millions of dollars, I'm sorry, but that doesn't work for me.
Well, I have a long-standing reputation in the community of standing up for the taxpayer, standing up for the little guy. I'm driven to make sure that taxpayers get value for their money, and I have long been driven for accountability. And honestly, let me. I don't want to always sound like I'm beating somebody to death. If you have an open meeting, it lends a great deal of credibility to your finished product. Nobody can question you if you have an open meeting and a citizen or two is allowed to ask a question. It'll just make things go much more smoothly. Now, one of the problems, and let's talk a little bit about that some material can be held confidential. Let's talk about that. By law, they can on some items.
If a company requests it, it can be specific parts of information, not the entire file, can be held confidential for 2 years.
Right.
But the administrative functions of an organization, like hiring, salary, what they spend their money on internally,
cannot be.
Is not exempt in any way, shape, or form.
And look.
And we've never asked for any confidential
Right.
company information.
We have always been sensitive to that. Look, some people inside this organization has wanted to say that I'm trying to bring down their efforts. No, I've not once asked for anything that would be confidential.
I would argue that public oversight would help ensure that money is not squandered on stuff that doesn't help those efforts, and then is available to be used to help recruit businesses or whatever else the mission is over there.
I mean, here's part of the problem when you kind of play loosely with the games of confidentiality. A few years back, Operation Bluebird was announced by Commissioner Salter. 800 and something.
This was an aircraft company.
Sapphire Aircraft Company is supposed to come to Santa Rosa County. 850 high-paying jobs starting at $60,000 a year. Well, all that's well and good. Me or anybody else that I know of never asked for any specifics on what went on there. Okay, that was 4 years ago, and that company never came here. Now I have some personal knowledge about the reputation and the ability of that company to ever build an airplane. But the bottom line is, we should be able to go back and see what our tax dollars were spent on during that event.
Right.
And the thing that I know that I'm certainly frustrated at, and I know the citizens that are watching this are frustrated at, it's event after event after event that is discussed in private. Money is put to it. We're asked for more and more, and we don't see anything happen. How long do you let something go? How long do you keep pouring money into something until you make a change?
Well, again, it's simple Florida law. The public have a right to oversee it, and they have a right to monitor it.
And I think and one other point that I want to make, I asked the representative Team Santa Rosa, did she have any idea why I asked for a meeting today? Well, she didn't know the answer to that, and I pointed out to her that at midnight on October the 1st, they're now under a county contract that has been fought long and hard for. I believe that contract is a good contract. Probably could have a couple more things in it. But that contract specifically states they'll follow 119.
They have to provide public records when asked.
So the bottom line is...
and what we heard this morning was that we still heard this morning, well, Team Santa Rosa's board disagrees with you on how we fall under that statute and what that statute means for us.
Right.
And, that may come up again.
It may, ladies and gentlemen. It's been made very clear to me by the state's attorney's office, by the Attorney General of Florida, and by the county attorney, Mr. Danhauser, that their records are open to the public. And let me say this: look, I'm not a piling on guy here. If you'll work with me a little bit, but you know what? The first time that I ever went over there, where Miss Anderson was in charge,
This is
the director of Team Santa Rosa, I felt like the Tanya Harding incident. I felt like I'd had my knees beat to death with a lead pipe.